So good afternoon to one and all. This is Gopi Krishna, Department of CSC from Chabrol Engineering College. My subject is compiler design. So in lecture number 5, so phases or structure of a compiler. In previous class, we are discussing what are the phases or structure of a compiler. In 6 phases, we are discussing 2 phases. So what is the 2 phases we are discussing in lexical analysis, and second one is the syntax analysis. These two are discussing in the previous class. So today's class we are discussing the remaining phases. So next phase is semantic analysis. So in previous class we are discussing lexical analysis. What is the role of the lexical analysis? So we are taking the source program. We are taking the source program from the user, and that source program can be divided into each we can read each and every character from the uh, lexical analyzer, and we can group them into meaningful tokens. So those are called the lexemes. Okay, so those can be we can generate the characters to stream of tokens, and that is the output of lexical analysis. So that output can be taken to the input to the syntax analysis. So those syntax analysis we can convert those stream of tokens into parse tree. We can construct the parse tree in a syntax tree or a parse tree. So what is parse tree? So we are constructing a given expression, so that can be constructed as a parse tree by using the context free grammar rules. So that is the first one. Okay. Okay, so in semantic analysis, so what is the third phase of a compiler design? So that is the semantic analysis. So this is also known as context handling. Okay, so in semantic analysis, what is the input of semantic analysis? What is the input of semantic analysis? So here the input for the semantic analysis, so that is taken from the we can generate a path tree or syntax tree in the syntax analysis. So that is taken the input to the semantic analysis. So in this semantic analysis, semantic means we have meaning. Okay, so semantic means a meaning analysis or context handling. This is also known as semantic analysis or meaning analysis or context handling. So in this semantic analysis, we can collect context, we can collect context information from syntax tree. So what is the input to the semantic analysis? So here a syntax tree or parse tree can be taken as the input to the semantic analysis. So that means collect context information from a syntax tree and the symbol table, and checks for the semantic consistency with the language definition. So that means we can generate a syntax tree or parse tree by the syntax analysis, that is taken the input to the semantic analysis. So we can check the semantic consistency. So the role of semantic analysis means, so what is the role of semantic analysis? The given syntax tree or parse tree, the given syntax tree or parse tree that can be taken, we can generate a syntax tree that is semantically verified or not. Semantically verification means, so we are constructing parse tree is a correct one or not. We can check the semantic analysis phase. So this is a semantic analysis. So we can collect context information. Hello.
సార్
మా సిగ్నల్ డ్రాప్ అయింది, చూడండి.
ఓకే సార్.
ఏం వినిపించట్లేదు సార్.
ఇప్పుడు వినిపిస్తుందా? Right. So in this semantic analysis, we can collect context information from the syntax tree and symbol table, and check for semantic consistency with the language definition. So we are constructing a syntax
స్క్రీన్ మొత్తం గ్రీనరీ అయిపోయింది.
స్క్రీన్ కనిపించట్లేదు సార్.
complete లేదా ఒక్క నిమిషం. Okay, so in this we can collect syntax tree. We can construct a syntax tree by using the context tree language grammar rules. By using context tree grammar rules, we can construct a syntax tree or parse tree from the given expression or given source code. So we can write a syntax tree. That syntax tree is taken as the input to the semantic analysis. So this the role of semantic analysis is used to the given syntax tree or parse tree is correct one or not. So semantically verified or not. So that is the main role of this syntax tree or semantic tree. Okay, so 1 minute. Okay, are you visible to screen, all of you?
Yes, sir.
All right, so next point is annotate notes of the tree with the results. So what is the second point? So annotate notes of the tree with the results. So that means so we are getting the input from we are getting the input of output from the syntax tree that is taken to the input to the semantic analysis. We can check the semantic verification. So the given parse tree is correct one or not. So if it is not correct, we can correct the syntax tree or parse tree. So annotate means we can use annotation means and annotation ante enti. So we are giving a brief description. So for example, we can write a one statement in a language. So we can write a statement that or expression. So we are using some comments like, so what is the performing. So for example, we are writing a C program addition of two numbers. So just try to include stdio.h. సో అట్లా మీరు రాసుకుంటా వెళ్ళి ప్రోగ్రామ్ రాస్తే ఆ ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఎవరన్నా విజిబుల్ చేశారనుకోండి, ఆ ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఎందుకు రాశారనేది మనకు తెలియదు కాబట్టి ఆ ప్రోగ్రామ్ మొత్తం చూస్తే గానీ అర్థం అవ్వదు. సో అలా కాకుండా ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ మీరు ఆ ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఎడిషన్ ఆఫ్ టూ నంబర్స్ అని కమెంట్ లైన్స్ లో రాస్తున్నారంటే, సో ద కమెంట్ లైన్స్ వీ కెన్ నో ద వాట్ ఈస్ ద పర్పస్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ ప్రోగ్రామ్, దట్ ఈస్ ద ఫైలింగ్ కమెంట్. సో కమెంట్ లైన్స్ యూజ్ చేసుకోవడానికి పాసిబిలిటీ ఉంటుంది. సో అలానే annotate means ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ మనం కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేసిన సింటాక్స్ అనేది కరెక్ట్ గా ఉందా లేదా అనేది ఏ ఎక్స్ప్రెషన్ కి మనకి ఆ పర్టికులర్ సింటాక్స్ ట్రీ అనేది కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేశారో దాన్ని చెప్పడానికి ఈ annotate notes of tree with the results. So we in previous class we are discussing syntax tree. For example, position equals to rate plus some expression we are using. So that is the that expression that is converted into syntax tree or parse tree. So that is the syntax tree, the output of syntax analysis. So that is taken the input of semantic analysis. So in this annotates notes of tree with the results. So what are the results we are getting from the syntax tree or parse tree? So next one. So the main role of this semantic analysis is used to the given parse tree or syntax tree is semantically verified or not. Semantically verified or not means so the given syntax tree is correct one or not. So in this correct one or not, we are considering the context tree language rules and is there any ambiguity that is present in a syntax tree or parse tree. We can eliminate the ambiguity. So we can elimination means ambiguity ni eliminate cheyali. So unambiguous tree ga మనం మార్చుకోవాలి. So that is the semantically verified. So in this case we are given syntax tree is semantically verified or not. So in this verification, so here in this verification, semantic errors, is there any semantic errors that are present in a given syntax tree or parse tree? So that is first one, type mismatches. So that means type mismatches. So So in a language C language, we are taking the type mismatches. So type mismatches ante enti? Okay, now for example, we are writing a program as include stdio.h int a is equals to 10, b is equals to 20. So we are taking integer a is equals to 10, b equals to 20. So for example, c is equals to float. We are taking the type conversion float. So float c. So we are add c is equals to int plus int. That means a plus b. So we are converting integer values to float values. So that is type mismatches. That means we are taking the variable declaration as integers, and we are reading that we are performing addition into float values. So that is that type of type mismatches. So for example, float a is equals to 10, float b is equals to 10. We are adding float c is equals to a plus b. That means we are using all the float values. So in previous case, we are taking int a is equals to 10, b equals to 20. So we are using float float c. So c is equals to a plus b. We are convert the integer values to float values. So that type of mismatches, that is not take not so that is that one type of mismatches. So those are the type of mismatches. So first one. Second one is incompatible operands. So what is the incompatible operand means? So for example, we are taking a values. We are taking a values. So incompatible operands means like same way it is type mismatches. So incompatible operands అనేవి మనం తీసుకున్నప్పుడు incompatible గా ఉన్నాయి అనుకోండి. Incompatible means for example a is equals to 60, b is equals to 20 తీసుకున్నారు అనుకోండి. So we are using 60.0, we are specifying, and we are declaring int a equals to 60.0. So 60.0 is the float conversion. We are specifying integer values, and we are assigning those values to some other values. So that is incompatible operands. So it is not compatible with the given syntaxes. So that is the incompatible operands. And 502 1982 502 చెప్పమ్మా 502 lateral. హలో హలో వాయిస్ సరిగ్గా లేదు. హలో so that is the incompatible operands. And function called with improper arguments. For example, we are writing a function addition of two numbers. So int a equals to 10, b equals to 20. So function called add of int comma int semicolon. So that is the function declaration. So those function declarations that can be defined in next section. So we are a function called means, so add is the function. So we are not specifying. So that means function called is add a అని తీసుకున్నారు అనుకోండి, add. సో add కాకుండా విత్ అనదర్ నేమ్ తో ఇస్తే, సో అలాంటి ఇంప్రాపర్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్. సో మనం ఫంక్షన్ నేమ్ రాయటం ఒకటి రాసి ఇంకొక ఫంక్షన్ నేమ్ తో కాల్ చేస్తే ఆ పర్టికులర్ కంపైలర్ అనేది తీసుకుంటుందా? సో దట్ ఈస్ ద ఫంక్షన్ కాల్డ్ విత్ ఇంప్రాపర్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్. సో ఇంప్రాపర్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ బేస్ చేసుకొని మనకి ఆ పర్టికులర్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ మనం తీసుకున్న ఫంక్షన్ ఏడిడి కానీ, లేకపోతే ఎడిషన్ ఆఫ్ టూ నంబర్స్, లేకపోతే స్క్వేర్ రూట్, ఎస్క్యూఆర్టీ ఫంక్షన్స్ ఉన్నాయనుకోండి, ఆ ఫంక్షన్స్ కాకుండా వేరే ఆ ఫంక్షన్స్ రాసి వేరే వాటితో కాల్ చేస్తే, సో అలాంటి వాటిని ఇంప్రాపర్ ఆర్గ్యుమెంట్స్ అంటారు. అలాగే undeclared variables. So for example, we are using C language. We are having a program. So that means we are not declaring a variable x. So x ane variable ne declare cheyaleru, but we are using x in our program. So that is the undeclared variable. So that is the undeclared variables. So these are the semantic errors. So first one is the type mismatches, second one is incompatible operand, and third one is function called with improper arguments, and fourth one is the undeclared variable. So these type of semantic errors that can be occurred in semantic analysis. So that means the output that is taken from the syntax analysis and it is taken to input to the semantic analysis. So the input is syntax tree or parse tree that can be verified semantically in the semantic analysis phase. So that means we are finding some errors that are present in that particular syntax tree or parse tree. Those errors can be rectified or detected and solve those problems by using semantic analysis. So semantic analyzer is used to remove the errors that are present in a syntax tree or parse tree. So that is the main role of syntax analyzer. Okay. So type mismatches means, is there any type mismatches? So we are specifying integer values and we are reading that integer addition to that particular float value. So this is a type mismatches. And for next one, incompatible operands. So compatibility means so we are specifying some other data type, we are using another type of data type, so that is incompatible to the operand. So for example, a is equals to integer and b is equals to float, we can add those type of operands. So this is incompatible. So one is why? Because one is the integer data type and second one is the float data type. So this type of incompatible operands that are having a error messages. And function call. So we are specifying one function name and we are calling with another function name. So this is the one type of semantic errors. And undeclared variable. So for example, we are not specifying the variable in the function main. So those variable is used in program. So that is the undeclared variables that are present in our program. So that is the type of semantic errors. So for example, so this is the errors. So int ARY. So int is the data type and ARY. So array name with size 10 comma x. X is another variable of type integer and x is equals to ARY into 20. So it is not a correct statement. Why? Because so int ARY is a data type, array data type. So we are not specifying ARY with size. So ARY of ani మనం స్పెసిఫై చేయలేదు కాబట్టి this type of syntax errors or semantic errors that is identified by the semantic analyzer. So those type of errors that can be uh, uh, that can be that can be generated by the semantic analyzer, and those errors are uh, solved by semantic analyzer. Okay. So for example, we are specifying the pointer data type. So for example, int x is equals to 10 and those. So what is the use of pointers? So we can store the address of another variable. Okay. So int x is equals to 10. For example, int star pointer ptr. So ptr is equals to ampersand of x. So this is the correct statement. So those type of errors can be generated by the we are writing a program. So those program that can be having any errors that are present in our program, those errors are intimated to the syntax analyzer. So those errors are rectified by the semantic analysis. Okay. So this type of errors can be generated by the semantic analysis. Okay. So those errors are recognized and solved by the semantic analyzer. Okay. So this type checkers in the semantic analyzer may also do automatic type conversions. For example, so type mismatches. For example, we are specifying int a equals to 10, b equals to 10, and result is float. So this type of this type of syntax type mismatches, those are automatically type conversion used by the syntax analyzer, semantic analyzer. So type checkers in the semantic analyzer may also do automatic type conversions if permitted by the language specification. So we are using any language specification. So the context free languages we are using. So those language specification చేసేటప్పుడే మీరు ఆటోమేటిక్ గా టైప్ కన్వర్షన్స్ చేసేటట్లు ఆ లాంగ్వేజ్ స్పెసిఫికేషన్ చేసేటప్పుడు చేస్తే దాన్ని ఆటోమేటిక్ గా మనకి టైప్ అనేది కన్వర్ట్ చేసుకుంటుందని చెప్తారు. ఓకే, సో దిస్ ఇస్ the role of semantic analysis. So what is the role of semantic analysis? We can get the syntax tree or parse tree as a input to the semantic analysis. So we can check those syntax tree or parse tree that can be verified semantically. So that is the semantic analysis. So in this collect context information from syntax tree and syntax symbol table and check the semantic consistency with language definition. Okay, so మనం తీసుకున్న syntax tree ని ఆర్ సింబల్ టేబుల్ యొక్క ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ గ్యాదర్ చేసేసి సో ఆ syntax tree ఆర్ parse tree అనేది it is correct one or not, so semantically verified by the semantic analyzer. So annotates nodes of the tree with the results. So we can generate a parse tree from the syntax analysis. So those annotates means so the given parse tree is a correct one or not, is there any ambiguity, so those ambiguity removed by the semantic analysis. Okay, so this type of semantic errors that can be identified by the semantic analyzer. So first one, type mismatches, and second one, incompatible operands, and third one, function called with improper arguments, and fourth one is the undeclared variables. So these are the main errors that can be identified by the semantic analysis. So and so on, we are having some other errors. So that these are the main errors. So that means we are declaring or we are not following the syntaxes, we can get this type of errors. So this is the example of semantic errors. So int array of 10 comma x, so x is equals to array into 20. So we are using array is the array, so we are not specifying the array in that declaration. So this type of errors can be identified by the semantic analyzer. So that means last point, type checkers in the semantic analyzer may also do automatic type conversions if permitted by the language specifications. Okay, so this is the semantic analysis. So next one, so here in the semantic analysis, so annotated syntax tree with the expression, so we are using the expression fin is equals to ini plus rate into 60. So this is the expression we are using in the previous first phase. So lexical analysis, second one is the syntax analysis. So we are using the expression, so fin is equals to ini plus rate into 60. So we can generate this type of expression can be converted into so stream of tokens. So here tokens are id1 comma 1. So 509 చెప్పమ్మా, 509
by mistake పడింది సార్.
all right. So here we can generate, so we are taking the source code, that source code can be converted into stream of tokens, so by the lexical analysis, and the stream of tokens can be converted by using syntax analysis of parse tree. So syntax analysis uses, we can convert the stream of tokens into syntax tree or parse tree. So this is the tokens id1 comma 1 equals to id2 id comma 2 plus id comma 3 and constant comma 60. So this is the tokens. So here we are using the tokens. So this is the given, or we can convert the given expression into syntax tree or parse tree. So in syntax semantic analysis, what is the difference between syntax analysis and semantic analysis? In syntax analysis, we are converting the given stream of tokens into syntax tree or parse tree. So here in semantic analysis, we are converting those values into semantically verified. That means we are specifying the is there any semantic errors that are present in that particular syntax tree or parse tree that can be removed by the semantic analyzer. So that means we are using float. So we are using float values. All are the float values. So in this expression, we are taking all the float values. So float id comma 1, float id comma 2, float id comma 3, and float. So in this expression, rate into 60. So in this 60, it is a constant. So constant means integer constant. So 60. So we can convert that 60 into to float. We are converting. Okay. So this is the conversion done by the semantic analyzer. Okay. That means so 60 అనేది తీసుకుంటే ఏమవుతుంది? You can get a semantic error. Those semantic error can be rectified by the semantic analyzer. So with the conversion of into to float conversion, into to float conversion. So into to float, we can convert this 60 into integer. 60 is converted into float. So 60.0 is the float conversion for the 60. Okay. So this is the semantic analysis. So we can verify it by the syntax tree or parse tree is semantically verified. So we are verifying the given parse tree is correct one or not. So if it is not correct, we can correct the parse tree or syntax tree semantically. So this is the semantical verification of semantic analysis. So by the semantic analysis. So this is the way we are converting the given syntax tree or parse tree that is verified by the semantic analysis. Okay, so this is the third phase of compiler. Okay, so next one, what is the fourth phase of compiler? So that is the intermediate code generation. So this is the fourth phase of a compiler or a structure of a compiler. So what is the intermediate code? What is the role of intermediate code? So we can give the one statement. So that is one expression or one program. Those program is converted into intermediate code. So in this intermediate code generation, we are using tree address code is the best example for the intermediate code generation. So that is the intermediate code generation. So here we are having a translate language specific construct in the annotate syntax tree into more general construct. So we are constructing the annotates. So annotated syntax tree for the expression. Here is the expression fin is equals to ini plus rate into 60. So this expression is converted into this type of semantically verified syntax tree. So in this translate language specific construct in the annotated syntax tree into more general constructs, and a criterion for the level of generality, it should be straightforward to generate the target code from the intermediate representation chosen. So for example, మనకి ఇచ్చిన syntax లో, so syntax tree or parse tree from the above given source program, so that is converted into intermediate code generation. We are using the three addresses code. So here example of the form of intermediate representation, three address code. So this is the semantically verified syntax tree, right? So this is the semantically verified syntax tree or parse tree. So this can be this syntax tree or parse tree is converted into three address codes. So that is the above expression. So what is the expression? So this is the expression FIN is equals to INI plus rate into 60. So FIN is equals to INI plus rate into 60. This expression can be converted into three address code. Here we are using 1. So this is the 1, 2, 3 and 4. So this is the 4 address code. So this can be converted into 3 address code. So here T1 is equals to into 2 float. So we can convert 60 value. So that 60 value is converted into integer to float. So 60 T1, that is a variable T1. So we are converting a 60 into float. So 60.0, that value is assigned to T1. So T1 is equals to into to float. So that is 60. And T2 is equals to, so what is ID3? What is ID3? So that is rate. So ID3 is the rate into T1. T1 means into to float. So 60. So ID3 into T1 60, 60.0. The value of this multiplication, the value is assigned to T2. Okay. So the value is assigned to T2. And T3 is equals to ID2. So what is ID2? INI. So INI that is added to T2. So what is the value of T2? ID3 into T1. So this T2 is ID3 into T1. So that is assigned to T2, and T3 is equals to ID2 plus T2. So ID2 is INI plus T2, and ID1 is equals to T3. So the whole value of T3 is assigned to PO, position value or function value. So final that is assigned to T3. So in previous in intermediate code generation, so the maximum values are 3 addresses. So it may be less. So maximum 3 ఉంటాయి, minimum ఎన్నైనా ఉండొచ్చు. Okay. So that is the example of the form of intermediate representation, that is 3 address code. So that is the so this is the intermediate code generation. Okay. So all of you know 3 address code in the previous syntax. So this is the FIN is equals to INI plus rate into 60. So this is the 4 address code. This 4 address code is converted into 3 address code by using the intermediate code generation. So here is the 3 address code representation. So T1 is equals to, we are converting the integer value, constant value that can be converted into to float by using type conversion. So into to float. So 60 that can be having into to float means 60.0. So that is assigned to T1, and T2 is equals to ID3. ID3 is temp into T1. So what is the value? Sorry, rate into T1. Okay. So here ID3 is rate into T1. So that is assigned. This multiplication is total value is assigned to T2, and T3 is equals to ID2 plus T2. So where ID2 is INI plus T2. T2 is total value of ID3 into T1, and this total T3 is assigned to ID1. So what is the ID1? So that is a function. Okay. So this is the intermediate code generation. So we are converting the given expression or a given source program that is converted into 3 address code by using intermediate code generation. So the best example for the intermediate code generation is 3 address code. Okay. So this is the intermediate code generation. So in intermediate code generation, the output of intermediate code generation is this intermediate representation. So this is taken as input from input to code optimization. So it is the output of intermediate code generation, and it is taken as the input to the code optimization. So this is the code optimization. So that means generate streamlined code still in intermediate representation. So ఏదైతే మనకి ఇంటర్మీడియట్ రిప్రజెంటేషన్ లో ఉంటుందో ఆ ఇంటర్మీడియట్ రిప్రజెంటేషన్ లోది మనం ఆ కోడ్ ని తీసుకొని ఇక్కడ కోడ్ ఆప్టిమైజేషన్ చేస్తాం. సో వాట్ ఈస్ ద రోల్ ఆఫ్ కోడ్ ఆప్టిమైజేషన్? సో వీఆర్ టేకింగ్ ద intermediate code generation output, so that is taken as the input to the code optimization. And is there any unwanted statements so that are present in that particular code intermediate code generation? Those statements can be removed by the code optimization. So those can be removed by the code optimization. So here is the first point, generate streamlined code still in intermediate representation. So ఆ streamlined code ని మనం intermediate representation లో ఎలా చేసామో దాన్ని అలా తీసుకొని ఇన్పుట్ గా, so we can a range of optimization techniques may be applied. So we are removing some statements that are available in intermediate code generation. So by using code optimization, so we have some optimization techniques. So that those are a range of optimization techniques may be applied. For example, so removing unused variables. For example, is there any unused variables that are present in our intermediate code generation? Those unused variables so that can be removed by the code optimization. So that is the first one, removing unused variables. And second one, surprising generation of unreachable code segment. So that means, for example, one statement is there, that statement is not reached to the function. So is not that is not useful to the that particular program. So those type of statements that can be removed by the code optimization. So supervising generation of unreachable code segments. So those unreachable code segments that can be removed by the code optimization. Alage next one, constant folding. So for example, is there any constants that are present in that particular program? Those constants that can be used by the three address codes, those are used in a code optimization. And common sub expression elimination. So is there any common expressions that are present in our code intermediate code generation? Those sub expressions, common sub expressions that can be eliminated by the code optimization. Alage loop optimization. So removing unmodified statements in a loop. For example, in our program, is there any looping statements? So repeated loop statements, so that can be removed by the code optimization. So these are the some optimization techniques are applied to the given source program. So we can use this type of optimization techniques and remove the unwanted statements that are present in our program. Okay, so here is the example. So we can generate intermediate code generation. So that is the input to the code optimization. So here is the input. So what is the output of intermediate code generation? So this is the output of intermediate code generation. That is T1 is equals into 2 float 60, T2 equals to ID3 into T1, and T3 is equals to ID2 plus T2, and ID1 is equals to T3. So this is the expression, that is output of intermediate code generation, and it is taken as the input. It is taken as the input to the code optimization. So we are removing unwanted statements that are present in a intermediate code generation. So we are removing some statements. So this is the removing. T1 is equals to, here what is the T1? T1 is equals to into 2 float 60. So we are just write T1 is equals to ID3 into 60.0. So what is the notation? So it is conversion of into to float. Okay. So we are no need to use this statement t1 is equals to into to float. This t1 is equals to into to float, that is 60. So this we are removing this statement. So by using code optimization, so t1 is equals to id 3 into 60.0, and this t2 is not useful. Why? Because so t1 is equals to id 3 into 60. So this statement is converted like this: t1 is equals to id 3 into 60.0, and here t3 is not used. Why? Because so in id1 we are placing t3, so t3 is equals to, sorry, id1 is equals to t3. The entire t3 value that can be assigned to id1. So simply we are writing id1 is equals to id2 plus t1. So what is t1? id3 into 60.0. So we are converting the given input from the code intermediate code generation. So uh, output those output is taken as the code optimization and remove the unwanted statements that are present in our intermediate code generation. So this is the way we are converting by the code optimization. So this is the removing some unused variables and constant folding, common sub expressions elimination. So by using some optimization techniques, so we can convert, we can remove the some statements that are present in intermediate code generation. So this is the input to the code optimization, and this is the output of code optimization. So input, that is output. Okay, so that is the code optimization. What is the last phase of phases of a compiler or structure of a compiler? So the last statement is phase is code generation. So this is the code generation. So we are map 3 address code into assembly code of the target architecture. So what is the main role of compiler? We can convert a given source program into low level language. Okay, so that low level language is assembly level language. So here the output of code optimization, that is taken to the input to the code generation, and we can convert that code that is converted into assembly level language. So here code generation, map 3 address code into assembly code. So map 3 address code into assembly code of the target architecture. So what is the final target? We can get the target program or object program. So here the given 3 address code. So that means in code optimization, what is the output of code optimization can be taken input to the code generation, and we are converting that particular statements into assembly level code. So instruction selection, a pattern matching problem, register allocation, and instruction scheduling. So these are the some function units we are using, and so this is the final input of code generation. So this is we are getting output of code optimization. So this is converted into some assembly level language. So we are using assembly level language. So these are the functions: move, multiplication, move, addition, moving. So these are the functions we are using in assembly level language. So here move function id3 comma r2. So what is the id3? So id3 is what is the id3? Rate, right? So that rate is moved to the r2. So we are using this type of syntaxes in a assembly level language. So rate is moved to r2, and we are multiplying r2. So we are multiplying r2 into 60 and moving that particular value into r2. So r2 loki మనం id3 ని మూవ్ చేసాం. సో దట్ ఈస్ రేట్. సో దట్ రేట్ ఈజ్ మల్టిప్లైడ్ విత్ 60. సో 60 is the constant we are using preprocessor directive hash. Okay, and move f. So id2 is moved to r1. So id2 అనే వాల్యూని id2 అంటే ini, so that is moved to R1, and we are adding those functions. So ID2 plus what is the value? R2 లో ఉన్న వాల్యూని యాడ్ చేయాలి. సో ID2 is R1 లో ఉంది, అలాగే R2 లో వాల్యూ ఉంది. ఆ రెండింటిని యాడ్ చేసి సో we can addition of those functions and it is moving to R1. Okay, so and we are moving R1 to total value of that particular syntax that is moved to ID1. So this is the code generation for the given input. So that is the output of code optimization can be taken as input to the code generation, and the input is converted into assembly level language. So that is by using move functions, multiplication, addition. Those are the assembly level language. So these are the 6 pages of a compiler. Okay, so అర్థమైందమ్మా?
Yes, sir.